LeBron James is here to watch his son Bronny play a high school game in person for the first time. Freshman Bronny and Sierra Canyon are here to face his dad's alma mater, St. Vincent St. Mary. Branham lost it. Boston on the break. And Bronny follows it up for his first basket.
He's done a lot of that this season, 7 games in. You know, he looks more comfortable every game. Everybody plays video games.
Bronny from the outside, too strong. Boston offensive rebound, and he flips it in. Under P.J. Carlissimo in the 80s. Bronny the floater, and that drops in for Bronny James.
See, I love that move, and that's been worked on. That got LeBron out of his seat. Well, he's been a big part of Sierra Canyon taking the lead. How about the baseline drive?
As a starter, came off the bench last year on their state runner-up team. Here's James, another runner, and that one goes down. LeBron started his freshman year at 6'1", ended it at 6'4", and Bronny James has 2 more. He continues to grow on and off the court, and Dad is fired up.
Then he moves the ball, finishes the play in transition, running his lane.
Now Odom in deep. No, Boston rising above everyone for the jam.
Right there, takes it above the rim, punches it down.
Second half, number 0 in the Navy. Here he is in the corner. Little runner from about 17 feet, and now Bronny's in double figures.
That was impressive because I thought he was going to shot fake 1 dribble pull up. It was a drive, 1 dribble floater. He'll get it right now. He drives the closeout. He goes off of 1 foot. That is a long runner.
Here's Bronny James.
Yeah, the other thing Bronny James has to do, and oh, that's a beautiful scoop.
With the left hand, now 12 points for Bronny.
When he hits that growth spurt like LeBron did as a freshman, that's when you'll see his game elevate. Good instincts of where to go and when it's open. And this time with the left hand, little hang time. And what's Dad got to say? That's my boy.
6 seconds. Lewis the step. Rejected by Boston. Do they have time? Bailey couldn't get it off.
As a freshman.
Odom. This is the second of 2, but an offensive rebound, and Boston sticks it in for Sierra Canyon. It's a 2-point game.
I mean, look at this off the offensive rebound. He chases it down, puts it up quick. He's athletic, he's long. Greg Brown from Texas has Memphis, Auburn, and Kentucky. A lot of talent on the board.
Boston off the steal, he lays it in. We are tied at 52. Across the floor, Bronny James catching fire. Boston is there for the stick back, and a timeout for Sierra Canyon. With 1:02 remaining, the Trailblazers are down by 1.
Bronny James, little fadeaway, pulled back. And there is B.J. Boston on the glass, as he's been all game long. I've been impressed with B.J. Boston coming off the bench.
Otherwise, the Irish can just run it out. Oh, the deflection and the steal by Bronny James, and the finger roll off the glass. Bronny has given Sierra Canyon the lead.
Gets the steal. He finds his way to the basket. For a minute there, I thought he was going to take off and try to punch it. And Dad is so happy. Official saying, step back, sir. Step back, Dad. Big reason if Sierra Canyon wins this game.
It's the front end of the 1-and-1. Doesn't matter. That's it here in Columbus. Bronny James with the best performance of his young high school career. The 15-year-old freshman back in the state of Ohio with his dad looking on courtside. And Sierra Canyon pulls it out. 59.
LeBron James has a 16-year-old son you may have heard about named Bronny. He's a sophomore in high school, and this extension for LeBron, the 2 years, will get him to 2022, 2023, right around the time that Bronny would be eligible to join the NBA. LeBron was on the Uninterrupted podcast, which he has a financial stake in. Speaking of mogul, always got his hands in something, right? He is a businessman, as Jay-Z would say. You guys probably didn't think I knew that. But LeBron essentially weighing in and essentially saying about a year and a half ago that I don't care how many titles I win. I don't care if I go back to Cleveland and win one. I don't care if I win one with the Lakers, whatever. the best thing that could ever happen to me on a basketball court, no matter how many Larry O'Briens I hoist, would be this.
What was the greatest achievement of my life? If I'm on the same court as my son in the NBA, that will be number one in my lifetime as an NBA player.
Play together.
Or play against.
Now, this was said 18 months ago. Fast forward, he's got a title with the Lakers. His son continues to ascend. He's 16. Jay, is this a possibility of happening?
He's LeBron James. He's arguably the greatest player to ever play the game, regardless of whether you have him 1, 2. I know Paul Pierce has him in the, just barely in the top 5, which is ludicrous, by the way. But still,
it is.
Like, it's the greatest player in the game. So my thing is, Bronny James.
I know, but I'm just hearing it again.
Well, that's Paul Pierce. That's a whole different conversation. I don't want to go on a tangent. Let's get back here to what we were talking about. All I'm saying is Bronny James is in a position to go to a top-tier college. If he goes to a top-tier college and if he plays decently, consider he continues to develop, he'll make an NBA roster. There are a lot of people who are in NBA rosters who are right there on the cusp of being in the G League, being overseas. But this reality of business is all about relationships. It's all about relationships. You cannot tell me, now that could be with the Lakers or it could be with another organization, that a team would not draft Bronny James, granted he keeps developing, okay?
That's the key.
In order for him to potentially say, hey, maybe your dad would like to come here and play with you at the tail end of his career. That would do, and Key just talked about this, the incentivization. Is that even a word? I just made it up. I said it.
It is now.
It is now for a team to do that, to say, come to my organization, increase the value of my organization, fill the seats with fans, and play with your son and live out your dream at the tail end. If the Lakers can't do that, some organization will take a chance on Bronny James to do that.
As long as he continues to develop, I mean, it's hard. Look, he's not a 6'7" freshman. You know what I'm saying? He's a smaller guard that's a freshman in high school that has some time to develop into his body. When you think about LiAngelo Ball 6 years ago was a itty-bitty dude.
You mean LaMelo?
I mean LaMelo.
LaMelo, yeah.
LaMelo.
There's a lot of balls.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. He was a small. Now he's a 6'7.5", 6'8" guard. Mm-hmm. So as he continues to grow and get better at it, then yes, I'm an owner of the Sacramento Kings, for instance. Just use that team. I'm willing to sign LeBron James to help me build an infrastructure, fan base, whatever it is that we're looking for at that time. And if I draft his son and bring him on the team, that son, obviously, we're not just drafting a guy because he's walking down the street. He's got to have some ability to be able to play, right? And so you would think that LeBron James and his crew is making sure that his son is developing at that level where he'll be able to live that dream. I hope he continues to develop.
But Bronny James does not need to be 6'7" to be drafted. You can draft.
No, you don't need to be 6'7". I'm just saying, as you continue, because he's so young, how hard is it to evaluate somebody in the ninth grade?
No, I think he's a sophomore.
He's a sophomore. 10th grade.
10th grade.
Yep.
All I'm going to say, though, is let's say hypothetically, and this won't happen because obviously being around great players and having access to the resources and facilities, his game will continue to blossom, continue to develop. But let's say hypothetically his game doesn't develop and it stays the same. Maybe he just grows a couple inches. Maybe he's 6'3", 6'4". You're going to take a chance on him in the second round because of the opportunity. Because of the opportunity that LeBron James might come to your organization to play a year with Bronny James, his son. Or the Lakers will find some way to bring him on board. I'm just saying if you're an owner or a GM, you're looking at this differently, especially if he doesn't develop in the later in the second round. So many teams stash people in overseas for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, let him develop.
Yeah, you're telling me you wouldn't do that with Bronny James for the opportunity to bring LeBron James to your organization to increase awareness? You talk about an injection or an infusion of energy with Russell Westbrook going to D.C. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you look at this situation the same thing if you're an owner or a GM?
I think that's a great point.
No, you do. And to my note, the only professional athlete father-son duo It was Ken Griffey Jr. That's the only one that I can think. I've been sitting here trying to think. I know there's a lot of fathers who's played, whether it's Michael Thompson and Clay or the Berry family, but not at the same time.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I want to give you some context on age. You mentioned LeBron here at 36 and what essentially is going to happen when Bronny is 16, 20-year age difference or thereabouts, if you want to call it. Great call, Key. Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. joining the Mariners.
Stole your notes.
Back in the day. Yeah, you're beating me at my own job. Don't be too good at this. I got to fill in the gaps here a little bit. The elder Griffey Sr. was 40. Griffey Jr. was 20. So right there, right around 20. So 40 and 20.